Should we get to go? Welcome. Mr. Blue here. TradePhantoms.com. Busy week. A lot of earnings this week. Taking a couple of plays. Some are right, some are wrong. This week specifically is a big one due to the big tech mega cap, right? The Apple's, Amazon, Google, Microsoft of the world. All right, so happy Halloween, everybody. Yep, yes, sir, J.O. Hey, how you doing? So I'll let more people kind of scramble in here a little bit. Today's going to be a little bit different. Whereas usually I would spend about an hour on this. I will mention this again, but this is going to be short and sweet here today. Usually I spend about an hour here, but I'm going to jump off this. I'm going to jump off this stream, and I created a trade room for the members at Phantoms, so we can kind of manage some of the trades positions that we're in and manage this. I'll go to the charts in a moment. You know, markets are not crashing or anything like that, but we got some volatility coming into the market just a little bit here, right? With some big tech names, mainly beating earnings, but gap down. So we always talk about that regarding earnings. I didn't send an email, Terry. How you doing, buddy? Are you in the group chat? Are you in the group chat? I posted a link in the group chat. I think one of our support is, in there. Let's see. I don't want you to post your shit. How can you get that link, brother? Write this down. Email tailored. I'm kind of putting my personal email on all. This is not good, but this is for my boy Terry. Tailored, right? Like when you get tailored, TAILORED, trader 4 X at Gmail. Email me there. I'll send you the link. Okay? Email me there. I'll send you the link. All right. Tailored trader 4 X at Gmail. All right, so I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, okay? We got no problem. We got things to cover, so I need to fly, right? So I'm an emergency. Not an emergency. That's not the right word, but a trick or treat Halloween special trade room later. Okay, I'm starting that at 9:10 a.m. Eastern. So that's about 25 minutes, give or take, from now. Okay. That being said, let me go over a couple things here, just really briefly as mentioned. Starting with just today, October 31st, happy Halloween, right? We just had a couple of news tags here, employment cost, PCE. Just remember too, we have non-farm payroll tomorrow. So that's a big mover typically of markets, right? High impact there. In addition to that, we have obviously an election next week, which is major, which is could provide some volatility. And on top of all of that, okay, the week before this is the earnings this week. Today being Thursday, so last night we had the big names here. Microsoft reported, Meta, okay, Coinbase, Robinhood, Carvana. Oh my God, Carvana, Starbucks, Carvana exploded. Okay, but Microsoft and Meta actually, especially Meta did very well on earnings. But we always say just because a company beats earnings, it could gap down, right? So there could be right. So now I'm taking a loss on Meta. Okay, that's the thing about Phantoms. I'm very transparency, right? And due to a couple of these earnings plays. This is why I'm coming. I'm doing a trade room so we can manage. So we can manage, and we can continue to do diligence on taking the opportunities off the back of these said earnings. Okay. I took a position in Microsoft, Meta. I will talk a little bit about that. All right. And Carvana, I did not get in. Was going to get in, but ended up being a little bit too late yesterday. At the end of the day, I passed on it. I did get into Robinhood though, but a little small position there. I was more positioned heavier on Meta and Microsoft. But I'll get to that right now. Tonight we do have, and I'll talk a little bit about this as well. It's not done yet, right? We got Amazon tonight after close, and we also have Apple, Intel, okay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then to end it, we have ExxonMobil over here, which is, ExxonMobil and Chevron, which is the lead dogs in that oil sector, right? Energy. So anyways, I'm going to go to the chart. Again, as mentioned, I'm going to keep it short and sweet for right now, unfortunately for Phantoms. I'm sorry, for the free YouTube folks here. Okay, and just due to the fact that, hey, when you in the event that you come and join the team, okay, you'd be able to jump into the live trade room where I'll be going a lot more in detail and taking positions, right? However, I will say this: right now we have S&P. Okay, we always talk from the top-down approach. Always here. I bring this up every day, right? Monthly, weekly, daily. Okay, no time for that right now. All right, but super important here. Okay, monthly, weekly, daily. Here's what I'm going to say here. I got S&P futures upper left, Nasdaq upper right, Dow Jones low left, Russell 2000 bottom right. A couple of traders in the trade room yesterday caught some nice IWM trade yesterday off the open, which was good. I was busy managing other things and swings and all that kind of stuff, but that they did very well. And the crazy thing about that is, look at IWM. It's still in mid-range, but yesterday some traders at Phantoms took opportunity in IWM. Awesome. I love to see it. Now, this being said, right, hopefully you can see this chart here. I know there's kind of a lot of notes here. So see if I can try to bring this front and center a bit more. But the thing I wanted to say here just really quickly, even though we have futures down and, some tech earnings gapping down, even though, earnings are good, that's what happens sometimes, right? As mentioned, what we want to do is make sure that we are still looking at the higher time frames, right? So the thing that I wanted to mention here is October 23rd. Now it's still very early. We tagged the low of futures this morning is 58.01. Yeah, boys. Yeah, actually, yeah, MSTR, it seems like it's going to be good. It seems like it's going to be okay. That thing would have to drop way down for that. So we should be good in, we got short expiration, so we should be good on that. So 1023, so the low of 1023 is 58.01, okay, the low of 1023. Now, why am I bringing up 1023? Well, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, several days here, right? For the most part, for this week and latter part of last week, because 1023 was last Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, right? Last Wednesday, we were still remaining inside of this candle. What's called the mother bar, right? Mother bar. These are all inside bars. Now the low today, right now, and the S&Ps are trading 58.12 handle. Okay, the low is literally 58.01. The low of the 58.01 on 1023. So we came and tested this new this mother bar low. It's called the mother bar low. Now, in the event that we do continue to drop down, okay, potentially, okay, just look left. We do have some areas that are not very great, okay, as mentioning, but we do have some areas of demand down below current price, okay? So today could potentially, it's kind of crazy to see that even though, okay, yes, yesterday we had a decent little, markets were up, I'll spend more time on kind of what was happening yesterday in the live trade room, okay? And then at the late day, we were balancing on VWAP. Then toward the end of the day, we just kind of like swiped down below VWAP. We just kind of went down on a late day little fade here, right? And then came to the earnings from Microsoft and Meta, the two big ones, the big houses, right? But that being said, we're still inside of this weekly, this Wednesday bar. Okay. Now we always have to be focused, right? This is why I want to open up the trade room here this morning so we can kind of go in a lot more detail with this. Okay. But we have to look left and see, what these prices are coming into. Okay. And I'll drop down to this, darker background in a moment where you can kind of see a little bit of the notes here. Same thing with NASDAQ, right? So NASDAQ did pop out a quick little new high. We did put in a positive CFG, called Monday, going Tuesday, engulfing Monday's bar. I did take a swing trade in NASDAQ on QQQs, okay? And for the record, I'm floating down on those right now, right? So again, I'm going to be going into that trade room. I'm going to help manage this, okay? But put this into perspective. We have to put this into perspective, okay? Looking at the chart, okay, did we break any structure or anything like that? No, okay? Now we have to be on our P's and Q's here today, laser focused to see in the event that this market does flush down, okay, is it just gonna be a flush, entering some demand and kind of calming down and coming right back into mean reversion, okay? Or is it gonna provide a bigger potential move down, okay? So that's one of the things that I wanted to talk a lot more about, okay, in that trade room, starting in about 10, 15 minutes, give or take. Okay, so I'll save some time with Dow Jones and Russell. Dow Jones is breaking down a little bit. Dow Jones is a little bit more weaker, relatively speaking, to the S&P and NASDAQ. And Russell 2000 is still just dead smack in the middle. Okay, so I'm trying to give you as much value as I possibly can for the YouTube folks. Okay, monthly, weekly, daily on futures. Okay, always monthly, weekly, daily. All right, and as you can see, so far, we're still inside of last week's high, last week's low. I mean, that could change, okay? And in futures, as mentioned, we're still inside of that Wednesday bar, high and low, because Wednesday put in that weekly high and weekly low, okay? Now, we want to always still stick to the process, right? Stick to the process. So meaning that one of the first things that we do is map out our Globex high, Globex low. All right, so put everything into perspective. All right, so there's our Globex high, there's our Globex low. I did mention this last night. We had a late evening class, and I had mentioned that we had a little slight gap down in futures, which is a little bit rare. So that kind of told, I did hedge a little bit. I got short. Usually you don't have a gap down on futures. So because I got long QQQs for a swing trade that are taking some heat, okay, and probably going to be a loss. I started this, last night. I was, as I was eating some dinner, things like that. I was, short some S&Ps, short some NASDAQ futures. Okay, I didn't take this whole move here. All right, but then I had to get some sleep, right? So I just took took a little bit of profit on that, put some limit orders below, tightened my stop up. Woke up to a little bit of a nice little move down in S&Ps and NASDAQ futures. Okay, but that's old now. I don't want to bring that up, but because it was yesterday just over dinner, I was just on my phone, kind of like, okay, cool, gap down. Let me, I'm already hedged long, got long deltas in the market, so you can hedge, right? So you can hedge, and I just sold short some little bit of futures on that little gap down there. Okay, the point that I'm trying to make here this morning though is this is our Globex low, and remember, if we look down and left, okay, if we look down and left, we still have these areas here of demand that need to be absorbed in the event that we did want to come down. Now remember, as I was mentioning for quite some time, where these levels have been tested, not great levels here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In the event that we don't, that we don't continue higher and we do snap lower, there's not a lot of high quality level of demand, and what that means is, in the event that we do get some volatility to the downside, for example, okay, which we did yesterday, late day, then it's just swiping through these levels. So these levels were aggressive to begin with, right? Now in the day trade land where we had SPYs and Qs, we get some weekly VWAPs, things like that were kind of holding, and then we kind of flushed down a little bit more, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make here is we still have this 57.96. That's a level right in here. Okay, so if I just zone in here, we have 57.96. There's a level right here, and this one's going to be a big one right here, the 57.70 right here for S&P futures, and that's going to be the date of that I have been mentioning for some days now, October 8th. Okay, so in the live trade room in a couple minutes, I will go and we are going to map out these levels below, right? Now also too, just note that if I had more time here with you folks in here today, we have VIX up, right? We have VIX up a bit, only about 4.5%, right? That's not super, and it's up, don't get me wrong, right? We finally broke out to the upside of volatility up, okay? But so far off the, off the back of that, we have it calming down just a little bit, okay? So we have to monitor this, right? There's a lot of other things too that we look at, okay? So jumping in the other room for my phantoms in there, okay? I don't mean to leave anybody out on YouTube, but this is just the way it goes, okay? I gotta go into that trade room so we can fly, okay? And it's just gonna be a session that we're gonna have, right? So as always, we are gonna be mapping out said VIX, and VIX is gonna be a nice barometer gauge in terms of, okay, what's gonna be happening in this marketplace for today? How are we gonna digest Microsoft, Meta, and a couple other big earnings, and this little bit of a swipe down here, okay? So SPYs, just to give you kind of a couple levels lay of the land, we have a slight gap down, or not a slight gap down, outside gap down. Now I did mention too, this is a daily time frame of said spot. All right, zooming in a bit. All right, yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Last week's high is up here. Last week's low is right there. Okay, now pre-market quote is right here. We are a bit below monthly VWAP, that orange line right there. Okay, and the point that I'm trying to make here is, even in the event we have a gap down and we continue down, okay, first order of business is I want to see how we react and respond in the event that we do flush out below last week's low, okay? In the event that we come lower, okay, in the event that we come lower, this 572 level right down in here is a nice little fresh prime level. Okay, now we have to put some respect on this level right here. Now this has been tested one time here. We actually took a nice trade off of here, okay? And then we have this level in the event that we come down here. Okay, this would be the kind of quote unquote second time back to this level, and it's a last week's low. So sometimes what will happen is, it happened in NVIDIA yesterday where I added to my swing trade earnings play on NVIDIA. I'm already preparing for NVIDIA November 20th, but that's beyond the scope of the time right now. I see a couple questions coming in too. I'll get back to the ES, but we could, just be patient, right? So we could gap down, swipe down below last week's low, and then even in the event that we do swipe down even further, we get some further downward pressure. Okay, we have to put some respect on this level right in here. So this is an impulse, basing impulse, and this is nice, prime, fresh, and I have that note there. It's just sitting there pending. Okay, so this is why when you map out your levels, you're prepared. So then if the markets do open up a bit, okay, you're not like, oh my God, you're not flustered, and you're like, okay, great, now we got some movement into some nice higher quality levels. Okay, at some point this had to pop, right? This level here, range, right? After a while, range. Okay, then we get a breakout move. Okay. But this breakout move is, we're not breaking anything in terms of structure levels on dailies or weeklies, okay? So you have to put that into perspective, okay? We might not even break this level here today, okay? All right, so again, we don't just talk in hypotheticals. I'm gonna be jumping into that trade room, okay, in a moment to trade it live. QQQs, just real quick, I'll go to NASDAQ as well. I wanna make this note real quick. We'll jump into the other room, but NASDAQ gapping down, so my swing trade, I even kept my day trade from yesterday, which some folks got already out of that, which is good, okay? But the swing trade, right, which is good. So you'll see me how I'm gonna have to manage this, okay? The swing that I have on, the 505s, these are probably cooked, okay, for the most part, okay? But today we have a gap down, potentially, but we do have this unfilled gap right here. We have monthly VWAP, and we have a little bit of a demand zone right in here as well. So again, all that being said, what I'm trying to say here is, this still has not broken any structure on the higher time frames, right? So just because we have a gap down and Microsoft Meta's big gap down does not mean that we're just going to go the market's going to get destroyed down. Okay, stay diligent. Okay, and again, I'll talk about that. So somebody had asked about S&P futures price level. The 97, got 57.96. There's a level in there. Yes, you can look at that. Okay, but I do have a note there. 57.96, I think somebody had mentioned, right? I do have a note there. yes. Okay, it is a Globex trap long in the event that we get down there, but it's aggressive. It's aggressive, right? So zooming in here, that's the 57, right in here, 57.96, which is this IBI right there. Okay. Which is this one right there. So we have a couple levels on levels, okay? Now, if I were to ask you which one is better, 57.96 or 57.70, okay, 57.70 is gonna be better just in terms of it's a little bit more lower, and we have some confluence with the SPY fresher level as well down in here, okay? So remember, don't be so emotional, all right? We could continue potentially lower. We get this white VWAP line right here. Okay, so far we've been just walking down below VWAP. Yesterday was super interesting, in the extent that saying that yesterday it looked like we check GEX flows, gamma flows, all this stuff. We do a lot of stuff in the trade room, right? But yesterday was super interesting because we had the first hour bar, we had a flush down. Nice. This is a 1 hour time frame of SPY, SPX, right? So we had a 1 hour bar flush down, okay? And this was looking prime. There was nothing really to stop price. We had yesterday's high being up here yesterday, right? I had to update my charts. This is yesterday's high now. We're beating yesterday. But the prior day's high was right here, right? And then there was like a nice, beautiful hammer bar flush down, okay? We had another hammer bar, okay? And we had some options order flow that was potentially, it was a battle right here. It was awesome to see, okay? Now I gave back some profits on it, right? But it was awesome. I gave back some profits, and I'm probably taking a loss in Qs, okay? Right, full transparency. But it was so cool to see in the extent that we had potentially what's called a gamma squeeze, all right? And we had some nice open space, what's called a void profit margin right up here, all right? And I was like, man, if this thing goes, this thing is gonna pop, right? And then we had a battle between short sellers, meaning bought put buyers, and then we had accumulation of trying to get long calls up here. So they were fighting, okay? And it ended up trying to be a little bit of a breakout. I added a little bit in the event that we had that gamma squeeze, and the next thing you know, it turned out to be kind of like a fakey breaky here inside inside bar, fakey, breaky, break, and then we just faded back down all day. Okay, so I'm probably speaking a different language to some in here right now. All right, but the point that I'm trying to make is, with Phantoms, you learn how to read price action and tape. Okay, and we study option flows, all right, to help us with our futures and futures, stock and options trades as well. Okay, so it was pretty cool to see, right? And the price in the tape was lining up beautifully. Look at this, another hammer bar on the 30-minute time frame. Next thing you know, we have a fakey breaky, and then we started to inside bar break to the downside. We tested daily VWAP, and then boom, gave out, and then we flushed out a little bit there. Okay, so it was pretty cool to see. So if you know how to speak the language of and by the way, I did not trade to my best abilities yesterday. By the way, too, for you Phantoms, right? Know that because I was just trying to do a little bit too much. We got earnings, so I'm trying to do this left and right. So I wasn't as focused on this as much as I was. So I took a little bit of heat regarding that, right? But today, I'm going to be staying very close to the tape, and this is why I opened up that trade room for today, right? So stay focused. So it's not going to be the regular programming. I know if you're new to Phantoms and all that kind of stuff, this is not the time to ask questions. This is go time, right? So this is this is an addition, happy Halloween kind of treat because the market's kind of gapping down, tricking us a little bit here today, right? Okay, so NASDAQ, let me just go through NASDAQ. I got a couple minutes here, then I'm going to jump to the other room for my Phantoms here, right? So NASDAQ futures. Let's see, so we're here. All right, Globex high, Globex low. Yesterday we took a nice bounce off this area here. It was going good, it was going good, it was going good until it wasn't. Then we flipped. Globex high, Globex low. That's the high right there. Okay. NASDAQ got a lot more open space, folks. Okay. So, we'll see. Now they're going to be gap right today. I'm going to be focusing a lot on QQQs to see how this monthly VWAP and this gap, this unfilled gap, I should say, is it going to fill today? Looks like it is. Okay, so we have a close here, pre-market quote right here. Okay, so this is the gap fill right here on QQQs 492. So we could gap, we're going to fill this gap. We could come a little bit more lower, and this is monthly VWAP, which is a powerful VWAP right here. Okay, and I also have another level right below here, and there's another unfilled gap right here. So in futures, NASDAQ, there's some void and some open space here. Okay, but be sure that you are connecting QQQs, okay, which is an ETF of NASDAQ, to help you with your NQ NASDAQ futures. Okay, so again, we'll talk a bit more about that. All right, we have this daily low right here, that's in blue. Okay, and so you just know we could have some sweeping potentially here. Okay, so that gap fill on Qs and that level right below Qs is going to be fairly interesting to see how this kind of all pans out. Okay, right now what you can see, markets are pulling back into this little overnight supply right here. Okay, for right now on VWAP. All right, so we'll see. This is going to be a nice little anchor point to see what's if the buyer is going to take back over VWAP. Right, we should not get a equal to or new low base. If we start to take this supply level out, conquering or reclaiming VWAP, holding up above this white line, okay, then we might be going on a fade up on QQQs and SPYs or NASDAQ futures and S&P futures. In the event that we continue to go lower, okay, you'd want to be right in the short S&P NASDAQ futures, okay, buy to cover, and then when it flushes out, okay, be diligent, make sure you're taking profit, exiting shorts, and then watch out for a potential swipe and then mean reversion back up, okay. Again, that's a lot there to take in. I would usually go over oil, gold, and the gaps. Let me just give you a quick peek real quick. All right, I got to jump into the other room. All right, I don't want to leave out YouTubers if you're not a member. But if you are a member, you can see that when things happen, Mr. Blue here, right? I take care of the team, make sure, right, that we're good to go. All right, super passionate about this, and I take this very seriously. Okay, we put my money where my mouth is. Okay, managing it live for the team and folks. Okay, you don't see the link in WhatsApp. It should be there, Terry. I typed it in all the rooms. I typed it in announcements. I typed it in. Anybody have Terry's email? Oh, if you email that. Oh, there you are. I see you, buddy. I'll send it to you right when I jump off this. I got you covered, buddy. All right. All right, oil, man, oil's not really moving that much. I'm not going to waste time on that right now. You're not really missing that much in oil. It's a little micro move here and there. This level actually worked out yesterday, pulled back, okay, but we're coming down to monthly low range, okay. We are breaking out just a little bit here, so oil might be in the game for some continuation, all right. But oil's been in range for multiple years now, all right. So I got some things to do real quick. Let me see, Meta. Meta, we have site gap down. I'll talk about that in the other room. I'll talk about that in the other room. All right, took a couple losses. I got a $2 spread here, half size, and I got a $1.50 spread here, which is just going to be a loss. So $2 there, $1.50 there. All right, Microsoft, we're still good to go. I sold some puts. Okay, I sold some puts down here at 410. It was called the close to naked. Well, I didn't do a close to naked spread on this. I just sold it. I just sold it cash secured. Okay, so I'll talk a bit about that. This is still good. We're not down here yet. So yeah, let me jump in the other room so we can pick this up. We got 15 minutes before market open. I want to be as prepared as possible. Okay, so this is going to be it for YouTube. If you wanted to learn a little more about this, etc., be part of the team member, all that kind of good stuff. If yeah, good. If no, all good. Go to phantoms.com. Click that register button there. Okay, I got to jump into the room. We got things to handle here. Okay, tonight, trick or treat. If you're not trick or treating, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 hours away today. Click that first name, email. You get registered for 90. Give or take about 90 minutes. Okay, Mr. Black, Mr. Green will host that. All right, and this is kind of the agenda on that. Okay, if you want to learn a little bit more and become part of members. If not, that's cool as well. Okay, for now, I gotta jump out. I'm gonna jump into the room. Terry, I got your email. I'll send you that link, brother, and so you can jump in too. And for my phantoms, I'll see y'all in a couple minutes. Blue out.